Welcome to another Brand Talk session, and it's still your host, Ojibe, and happy 2023. I'm wishing you all a good year, and I optimistic about this year. A lot of people said a lot about 2022, so we're trusting that 2023 will be a better year. And regarding the whole stories concerning businesses, especially businesses in Nigeria, and from my own personal experience, we decided to kick off 2023 with this particular discussion. So today we're going to be talking about building a business in the desert. And well, I trust as we go into the conversation, you will get to understand better. And to discuss this with us, to digest or digest this with us, or make us digest this. We invited none other but Tola TA Alabi. And if you're, except you're new on Brand Talk, that's the that's why you will know him. But there's no way you've been following us for the past 2 years and you've not come across. He's been a regular guest here, and I'm honored and privileged to have him start off our first podcast of in 2023. So great to have you back again, sir. Welcome to Brand Talk again. It's a pleasure, it's a privilege, and happy new year to you.
Yeah, happy New Year to you, IK. And it's good to be here too. It's really good to be here. It's always good to be here to talk with you on Brand Talk. So yeah, I'm looking forward to today's conversation.
Great. Okay, so let's just get straight into the topic. So today we're talking about building a business in the desert. Now, from my conversation with some businesses in 2022, and when you go online, a lot of businesses complained a lot about 2022, especially with the Nigerian factor. Government policies that are anti-businesses, the economy that it's in, I don't know how to even describe it, but like businesses have pretty much taken, so much. And it's not just about last year. Maybe last year made it, I don't know, maybe it became worse, I would say, but in the last couple of years, businesses have been taking hits left, right, and center, from COVID to now government policies and the Nigerian economy and all. And which is why we decided to talk about this today, because it's a new year and we want to, yes, in Nigeria, this year is an election year, and people will be electing the new crop of leaders in Nigeria. And of course, leadership is important, especially when it comes to policies, either formulating or implementing policies that will either help you as a business or, not help you as a business. So let's start. And of course, the issue of Jabba, like I personally can count how many how many tech friends, how many nurses, how many doctors I know, that left Nigeria last year for greener pastures and all. And these guys, some had to close businesses in Nigeria because, of course, they couldn't keep up and all that. But the truth is that, people say, okay, what I hear, okay, this election, they are praying for a particular candidate to win because they believe that once he wins, he'll have a better policy that will help people. And then, okay, but even I want to take it to, okay, the worst case scenario, that particular candidate doesn't win, or the worst case scenario, no matter what happens, it still doesn't get better. Not everybody will leave Nigeria. People will still have to do business in Nigeria. I believe even with the even in with wars in places like Syria, Sudan, there are still businesses operating there. Even in Borno State, in spite of the whole insurgency, there are still businesses operating, because not everybody will leave, not everybody will close up. Now, there are people that are still going to be around, that are going to be taking the heat. How would they operate? So it's this is okay. This is how my very first question will be now. How can we operate as businesses in an economy that is seen as frustrating for us? How can we thrive in that environment?
All right. That's an interesting, your your introduction and all you said so far, it's really interesting, and it's something that I can relate to, and I feel a lot of business people have had that narrative over the years, and it has gotten stronger about what the business climate is like in Nigeria. So, your question: how can people, how can businesses thrive? How can people set up shop in an environment that seems frustrating or almost opposing to small businesses?
Yeah.
I think first of all, I want to establish that with this conversation we are having about businesses and being in a desert, setting up business in a desert. I want to say this conversation. I can't have this conversation without being somewhat spiritual.
Okay.
It's going to be very, very hard. It's very hard. There's some conversations that you have with people and they tell you, okay, let's leave God out of this. Let's talk about business.
Let's be practical.
Let's put God to the side. Let's be practical. Let's be realistic. You understand? This is not one of those, and those are the most unrealistic conversations. The ones where they tell you leave God out of it, because then you left out the key element of reality, which is God. And then the conversation now becomes unrealistic when we start talking outside of God. And look, some people might not get this listening to this podcast right now, just saying, man, God doesn't exist. I can't see him. I can't feel him. I can't do this. But it's going to be very, very hard to explain some things without going the spiritual route and to clarify some things. Although I will try not to lose people too much, but then I will always take reference from where I always take reference from, which is spirituality. So coming back to the question, how do you set up shop? How do you thrive as a business in a place that seems opposing to small businesses and frustrating to your progress? I think the first place to start is that mindset in itself of this particular geographical location is opposing to my progress. That's the root problem. The mindset, that narrative that Nigeria is a bad place to do business. Nigeria is a difficult place to do business. The mindset has to change from that mindset of opposition to a mindset of opportunity. So it's the mindset. And I realized that here in Nigeria, we have an opposition-centered mindset rather than an opportunity-centered mindset. So the average Nigerian is already indoctrinated to this narrative of the government is bad, the situation is bad, it is hard to do business in Nigeria. Now, saying this, I'm not saying the government is doing well. I'm not saying that. The government isn't doing well. The situation is challenging. However, one thing I want people to know is because something is a popular opinion doesn't mean you need to adopt it as a personal opinion. There might be a popular opinion, but your popular opinion doesn't need to be your personal opinion. And which is why I'll give a reference from the Bible. You see, I was reading the Bible this morning, and there was a place in, I think, Luke chapter 4, where Jesus was talking in the temple. And he made a statement. He says, a prophet is not appreciated in his own town, in his town of origin. And he gave instances. He says, in the time of Elijah, there were a lot of people, a lot of widows. In the time of Elijah in Israel, there were a lot of widows. But only one widow got blessings from Elijah. Only one, who was even a foreigner. But there were a lot of widows there. And Elijah had the power to help every single one of them. But he was sent to only one. He says in the time of Elisha, there were a lot of lepers. But only one person was healed from leprosy by Elisha, foreigner, who was Nathan. But Elisha had the power to heal all the lepers in Israel then, but none of them got it from him. You see, when I read that, it kind of struck me. It made me understand that if you are in a place and you do not believe that there are opportunities will not come to you. You see, the spirit of opportunity comes to those who believe and those who have hope. Because people didn't have hope in Israel then, they didn't see Elijah or Elisha as someone that could change their situation. It was one person that saw it and said, I believe there can be hope for me. And those people got the blessing. The same thing with Nigeria. There are a lot of people that have adopted this mentality that Nigeria is a terrible place to do business. It's not for small businesses. It eats its own children. That is the mentality we go with. But if you go with that mentality, that is what is a self-fulfilling prophecy. That's what will happen to you. And then you realize that foreigners will come to Nigeria and begin to take advantage of the opportunities. They come and they see opportunities. We are here and we see opposition. And that's why you see businesses. What are the businesses that thrive in Nigeria? Think about it. We have South African businesses seriously thriving in Nigeria. We have ShopRite, we have MultiChoice. Those guys are thriving. Do you understand? When you look at American businesses that have set up shop here, Domino's Pizza, Pizza Hut, KFC. You see, those guys are setting up and they are not leaving. There's a question we must ask ourselves. If the society is so opposed to business prospering, why are these guys setting up shop here and expanding? Why are you always listening to radio that are telling you there's a new ShopRite open in Gwarimpa, there's a new Domino's open in Lube, there's a new this open there? You see, it's the same scenario that Jesus Christ talked about. The people do not see opportunities. It is one person that comes and gets the blessing. You see, this small business, how do you thrive? You thrive by changing your mindset. Because people are thriving. But the problem is that there is a cancerous mentality there that goes around on social media, on your stories, on your WhatsApp stories, on Twitter Nigeria. Everybody wakes up and says the same cancerous message. Oh, what a frustrating country, what a terrible country, what is this country, what is that country? And then you eat into that. And that becomes the foundation of your day when you are going to work. Your day, nothing can be built on a good foundation and stand. Do you understand? So when the foundation, the priming for your day is, man, this country is just terrible. Man, this country, you have people come out and just say it outright, F this country. Do you understand? Then a business person sees that and that's the priming for their day. They can't build any solid structure. That self-fulfilling prophecy will catch up with your business. So I believe that it starts from the mind. You see, I've been designing logos for a while. That's the truth. I've been designing logos for a while. It's like 18 years, you understand? This is my 19th year as a creative. Even though I don't do logo design as actively anymore, I did it for a long time. I know one thing that always surprised me was people always came up to me when I started, when I got to the midway, and when I got to this late stage. People always came to me and told me, is that all you survive on? How can you survive only on logo design? That's what people ask me a lot. I got that question so many times from fellow creatives. And every time I got asked that question, I realized why they were not doing well. Because in their minds, they didn't believe that logo design could sustain them. That was never a question that I entertained in my mind. Never. In all my 18th years, it never crossed my mind that logo design could not sustain me. And that's why it sustained me well. But some people go into the industry thinking, this thing cannot sustain me. I need to augment it with something. And that's what will happen. They go into it and they always need to augment it. I didn't do any magic. I didn't do magic. I just trusted that that's what I should do with my business. I never entertained the fact that it would never be sufficient. Never. Ever. Not for one day. Not for 1 minute. Never. I thought of it as something I had in my hands that could do well. Some people also came to me and said, How do you get? Nobody will ever pay you a premium for logo design. Nobody. People used to tell me that. Clients used to tell me that. Designers used to tell me that. My parents told me that for a while. You understand?
Yeah.
But then I didn't entertain those. I didn't entertain those because I had a mindset of opportunity. I believe I've been blessed with that mindset, you know. So when I wake up, I wake up with that expectation that something good will happen. So if you are a small business owner, you must have a mindset of opportunity, not a mindset of opposition, because that's what you get when you have a mindset of opportunities. Even in a desert like Nigeria, you wake up every day and you see opportunities. And opportunities, they will present themselves. That is what these foreign businesses have. The owner of MultiChoice, the owner of ShopRite, the owners of Domino's Pizza, Pizza Hut, KFC, whatever international brand that we Nigerians line up to go and get their services or their products, those people do not wake up reading Nigerian Twitter. They don't wake up seeing Nigerian WhatsApp status. They don't watch NTA or Channels News. You understand? Because they are foreign, they are immune in their mind. So all they see is Nigeria opportunities. We Nigerians have to be more intentional about what we see in our minds. That is how the small business can survive. So can the small business survive in Nigeria? Yes. They can not only survive, they can thrive. You understand? It is where you put your mind, where your antenna is fixed. That becomes the foundation of every day you go into business. So you see someone selling bread once nobody comes and they close up within 2 weeks. You see someone selling bread and they grow into a big bakery in 2 years. The same bread, nothing different. The mind is just what's different. So it's the mindset. Mindset in the desert is what's most important. So even when you read the word of God, when the children of Israel came out of Egypt and they went into desert, the people that didn't survive are the people that didn't believe they would survive in the desert. The desire to go back. You understand? They were wiped out. Till there were people that actually saw it that we can make it through. You understand? So opportunity is what you need to see and not opposition. And I believe there are opportunities here, even in the midst of bad governance, because there is bad governance, even in the midst of poor amenities, because there is. But you're surprised the power of the mind, how the mind can change even what you see as reality. So when I was doing logos, I went into every logo meeting, I went into it believing that I have delivered already. So I was never intimidated by any brief. I always believed I could deliver. So I was already at the finish line in my mind. My body just had to catch up. And that's why I tell people, I hardly got rejections per se. You understand? And I hardly had to present like 2 or 3 options. One option, I believe that I had that one option. Before I even started the work, I believe that I knew that one option that person would like. That's what worked for me. That's the secret. You understand? It's the mind. But when you believe that, oh man, this should be hard, or I have to present like 20, that is what will happen. We'll present 20.
Wow.
So that's what I think the small business is to do. The mindset, you must tune to the right frequency. That frequency that allows you to survive in the desert.
Oh, okay. Thank you, sir, for that. So some people might say, okay, now comparing something like ShopRite with a small business, it's not really, because now, yeah, they are foreigners and they also have the money, right? Now, but as a small business, I don't have the money. I have to worry about when the next pay is going to come, especially for businesses that have a team. Like, where will I get the next pay for salaries or for operations cost and all that? ShopRite may not have that problem per se because they're a big brand and all. So in that way, they're able to see the opportunities because they will tell you, okay, I started, like I had the mindset, I saw the opportunity in the Nigerian market and even with the whole, because this whole government thing didn't start today, it didn't even start 2-3 years ago. It's always been there. But then now they said, okay, I started this business because I saw the opportunity, but somewhere down the line, somehow something happened. Yeah, I couldn't sustain it. I couldn't keep it again. I couldn't sustain it. The money wasn't just coming. And then, because I hear people say a lot, oh, if Zuckerberg was a Nigerian, he wouldn't have made it this far when it comes to Facebook, or if Jack Dorsey and Twitter, or Elon Musk with SpaceX or Tesla and all that. So Is it a big money thing? Like the big brands have big money to keep them afloat while the small businesses don't have anything that do you think is that?
No, I don't think it's a big money thing. I think it's a big mentality thing. Um, as big mentality thing as opposed to a big money thing. Um, a lot of I see when I even talk about those multinationals, not everybody can be a multinational. What I'm trying to say is that you can thrive at whatever level you can. So there will
Oh,
always be big multinational businesses, there will be medium-sized businesses, and there will be small-scale businesses. You see, success is not in the size. Success is in the achievement. So if I'm talking about multinational businesses, they are that level and thriving at that level. Why Nigerian multinational businesses are folding up? Because they have that terrible mentality. So you see that in Nigeria, we used to have a paper mill before they've closed up. We used to have Samco that used to make drinks, supply drinks to schools. Half the schools in Nigeria closed up. You understand? We have all these big industries that were here or closed up. So I'm not even comparing ShopRite to the small scale guy. I'll come to the small scale guy very soon. I'm
okay.
talking about the same guys that were operating factories. And those guys were there when ShopRite started operating factories. ShopRite started their own factory in South Africa. Samco started his own factory in Nigeria. 30 years later, Samco doesn't exist. ShopRite is in Nigeria and in other countries. It is a mindset thing. Where and another you might ask people in Samco, and they'll tell you it was the government, the law didn't help us, the restrictions, this thing, that thing. You understand? It's that mindset. It's on every level. On the middle class level, you still see it too. Even on the lower class level, that's why I was talking about someone selling bread, the other person selling bread, one person doing well, the other person not doing well. You see it every day. You see it every day. You see some people, what they do, they're selling wristwatches from the trunk of their cars. Some people still start out selling them from the trunk of their cars. But you see the other person goes up and sets up shop, the other person folds up and complains that Nigerians are terrible people. They will owe you money. They will do this. They will do that. Then why did that other person succeed? These are the pertinent questions we need to ask ourselves. It is not a big money thing because some people will never have ShopRite money. Never. We are not all destined to have ShopRite money. You understand? But we will all have some money that is given to us that we must account for. That's why the Bible talks about someone with 6 talents, 3 talents, 1 talent, or 3 talents, 2 talents, 1 talent. That's how it's talked about. Some people will be on the ShopRite level, have 3 talents. They can do a lot is expected of them. But you with your 1 talent, your 100,000 naira, your 50,000 naira, you're going to account for it. And God is not going to hear the fact that Nigeria was a difficult place. That's why it didn't multiply. You're not going to hear that. You understand? So it's now up to you to now think of it and now say, I'm here. Number one, I'm here. I'm Nigerian. I didn't choose this place. This place chose me. You understand? I was here. You understand? I was born here. I didn't immigrate here. You understand? I was born here to this particular parents who were at this particular income level. I didn't choose any of those things. And that's why when we begin to identify the things we didn't choose, those things are the tools in our lives. But a lot of times, some people see the things they didn't choose and they try to run away from it. No, those things you didn't choose were divinely appointed. Those things are tools. What you need to ask is, they are tools towards what? But a lot of times we kind of think, I don't want this thing. I don't want this situation. I don't want to be born in Nigeria. I didn't deserve to be born to this family of average class, middle earning people or low earning people. You see, all those things are given to you to learn something from. Their tools. They are tools. So even when you look at people that have done well in life, you look at someone like Chimamanda now, gone out of Nigeria. She was born and bred here, but she was born in a university environment to university lecturers for a particular reason. The reason was so that she can write books and be in an intellectual environment and be stimulated by her father and Chinua Achebe, you understand, stuff like that, and have access to these people and resources and have access to Nigerian culture that she will write about. You see, that is what a big-minded person does. They think of where they are coming from and think of, how can I use this thing to make gold? How can I turn this thing to gold? But the small-minded person looks at where they are coming from and they demean it even further. They disdain it. You understand? And they begin to wish that they had what someone else had. They begin to wish for other tools. You understand? So you see, IK, we are all born privileged, but not privileged in the way we desire sometimes, or the way in which privilege is defined. Some people are born privileged with pain. They don't even know they're privileged with pain. But when they key into that pain, they're like, oh, that's why when they write books, they write poems, spoken word, they write songs, it comes from a place of pain. You can't write songs like that person that is writing from his place of pain. You understand? You can't.
Yeah.
I was watching an interview with this UFC fighter, Francis Ngannou, on YouTube. I advise anybody to go and watch it. Francis Ngannou's interview with I can't remember what the YouTube what the title of the video is called again, but I'll send it to you privately. Watch it. Okay. The guy came from Cameroon. IK. Cameroon is not doing as well as Nigeria is. If you speak to the average Cameroonian, they will tell you, Nigerians, then you go and thank God that you are here. I'm telling you, the government oppression is worse than here. They have a president called Joseph Biya. He has been there for how long? Over 30 years. We've never had a president like that in Nigeria. He's out of the country more than half the time. They don't see him. You understand? He runs. If every Cameroonian should tell you the way they admire Nigeria, you will realize that we are not seeing our own opportunities. This guy came from Cameroon, and now he's number one UFC fighter. Although he has left UFC now, number one. He went through trials and pain. Those trials and pain built him into the fighter he is. So every time he fights with his pain. You understand? That was privilege. It wasn't the privilege of my father has an inheritance for me. It was the privilege of pain that nobody can train for in the gym. So that's why people train to beat Francis Ngannou in the gym. They don't understand why they can't beat him. I'm doing the same exercise regimen as him. I'm doing the same diet as him. But you didn't go the same pain as he did. You cannot invent that. There's no gene that can give you that. And that's what we have. We have that pain, but we don't key into it. So when I talk to the small, it's not a big money thing. It's a big mind thing. It's a big mind thing. So you must see what you have and say, what am I meant to do with these things that you've given me that I didn't choose? How do I form them into tools? You understand? You must ask yourself that as a small business person. Small business people, you see, and that's why when you think of yourself as small business, there's a big problem. So it's in the end, you must just think of yourself as business at a particular level. You understand? That's it's not something that gives you, say, oh, I'm just a small business. Then you've already seen yourself as, you've already put restrictions in your way. I really feel we need to come to that place where we change the way we even, the nomenclature we give ourselves. You know, I'm a small business. I think then, in your eyes, you see, it's just like when the Bible says, we went to go and spy the land, and they say we were small even in our own eyes. We were like grasshoppers. So when you start having that I'm a small business mentality, you kind of sound disadvantaged.
Yeah.
And so you're small by what standard? Are you small by impact, or you're small by how many staff you have? Because if it's impact, that's small, but that means that even big businesses could be small because they have small impact, and you have what you call small businesses big because they have big impact. So instead of saying you are a small business, just talk about the people you are sent to. So you feel like I'm a business that is sent to people that make this amount of money, that make 100K a year. You know, understand? That's really small amount of money to make in a year, but that's who you are sent to. I'm a business that is sent to people in this geographical location. I'm a business that is sent to these people on this street. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That now takes the shift away from the size of your business to the purpose of your business and to the people you are serving, which I think it is a more opportunistic. Is not opportunistic. Is not the way to outlook at it, but a more opportunity angled way of looking at business. You understand? So you must look at the people you are sent to. And a lot of times, the people you are sent to are the people you have the capacity to serve. So when I talk about sent to now, some people might be thinking, does it mean God has to come in my dream and tell you, I'm sending you to this? No. He doesn't need to come to you. Sometimes it is the limitation of your resources that decides who you are sent to. You understand? So for me as a designer, personally, I might have liked to work with dignitaries and Fortune 500 companies. But because of my access was not to those people based on where I grew up, the family I had, the relationships they had. My access was more to like what I would see as average earning people rather than high earning people. But so that now became my audience, not because I chose it as my audience. It was just what my tools were made for by default. You understand? So some people, because of their background, their upbringing, they're able to relate with people in rural areas well. They're able to relate with people with not too good an education because they can talk like them. You understand? They can talk like them. They can eat like them. They can adjust to situations like them. Those people, that is who they are sent to by default. You understand? So we need to, as small businesses, we need to understand who we are sent to. And sometimes who we are sent to is a revelation. Sometimes it comes around by our situation. We just know. Like for some reason, I'm in this part of Lagos, this part of Abuja, this part of Kaduna. I didn't choose it. It doesn't seem like a very high-end path, but that's where I am. It kind of means that that's why I'm sent to for now, to set up my business and work with these people. And when the right time comes, I evolve my business. I would be evolved, and I will evolve my business to serve the people that I'm in contact with at that time. Which makes me come to the point where the biggest issue that I feel businesses have is a fear to evolve. You understand? They have that fear of evolving, and you must always evolve as a business. And there was something I wrote on Twitter today, where I was saying something to the likes of, if a business does not consistently evolve their operations, they will die due to competition or legislation. And so a lot of small businesses die, not because it's their time to die. It's almost because of their fear to evolve. And this is what I'll bring it home by giving an example like this. You have a business now.
Yes.
You have Yummy Drop, you understand? You are doing logistics, transportation of cakes. That's brilliant. You understand? It's brilliant. It's unique in this climate. But a time will come, when you would feel an inclination at the height. So a lot of times at the height of your success, of your operations at Yummy Drop now, everything will be going well, your bikes are going well, you're increasing profit, you're getting clients, and then something will just drop on your mind to switch up something, and you'll be scared to do it. It happens to every business. When you hit success, something comes like if it's about to ruin it. A lot of people around you will tell you, no, don't rock the boat now. Things are going well. Let's stay like this now. We are just saying, clients are coming, increasing, profit is increasing. Then thing is telling you, thing might tell you, stop using bikes and start using cars. You understand? Or stop just carrying cakes and start carrying something else with it. You see, that's where businesses get stuck. That switching up, that evolution to something else, something slightly different, especially when it seems like you have a well-oiled machine already. A lot of people get scared there and say, no, we can't change what works already. And that's where competition catches up with you. Somebody else will come and start doing your business the same way you've been doing it, and people will leave you to start going with them, or you start sharing like the market with them. And that way business begins to shrink. Or the government will come. You know when businesses start doing well, they attract government attention. That's the way it is everywhere in the world.
True.
That's the way it is. government attention when logistics started doing well in Nigeria, man, every government just thought, okay, logistics. Okay, let's look at it. You can't be using these boxes to go. You can't be using this bike. That's when legislation always is attracted to where people's attention is, because the government is about control. The government is a very insecure aspect of society. Very insecure, because they want to maintain control. So when something seems to be growing rapidly, it throws them off balance. That's why they go in and they throw laws that make them feel like they're still in control. So you see, when Facebook started, had a few million people. The American government didn't really care. But when they realized that there were billions of people on Facebook, then they came and started calling Zuckerberg for hearings and stuff. Are you sure you're not doing this? Are you sure you're not? See? Because that's how government does. Then they give him restrictions. They do it for everybody. They did it for Bill Gates. They're like, this is a monopoly. You can't be running your... But he has been doing it since. You understand? Government is always attracted to growth in a particular sector. And they go there and they stamp their authority. What happens a lot of time when they do that? The business that doesn't have an evolution plan will die. So when you grow a business like Yomi Drop now, and you're like so comfortable with how you've been doing business, bikes, that kind of thing, government will come and just say, no more bikes. In fact, no more bikes. Go and change your bike, change your box, change your this, change your this. And you realize that for a company that has invested so much in bikes, it becomes a problem. Because now you now have to change 2,000 bikes. That has thrown you off immediately. Or they restrict to say you can't have 2,000 bikes anymore. Every company must have nothing less than 200 bikes. They have to lay off thousands of people. And that's how the company that has no evolution plan will die. But a company that has gone against the grain, even the height of success, they'll say, okay, they've cancelled bikes, but thank God we still have cars. By the time they're cancelling cars, you have trucks. By the time you're cancelling trucks, you have drones. Do you understand? So I was watching something the other day where a guy was on Instagram, and it was at his parents' place, and this is abroad, and he said his parents just ordered chicken wings, and it was being delivered to them by drone, and he was laughing. Why do you use drone? Why don't you use cars like everybody? So the thing delivered it, and a lot of people in the comments were like, this is just a waste of money. This is a waste of money. But then I looked at it, I said, guys, they don't get it. This company delivers with cars, but they decided to add drone to it. Why? Because you know what, they had to evolve. Even though people look at it now and say, that is just a waste of money. Why are you drones? Why? There's no need to carry people's food by drone until the American government says you can't carry food with cars anymore. It's unsanitary. Then that company will come out on top. Then everybody will start moving to drones then. But by that time, you're already late to catch up. So a lot of times, businesses stay small because of their unwillingness to evolve, when they have spiritual leaders to evolve, to do things that are considered risky and against the grain, especially in a time of success. That's why businesses stay small.
Okay, so you're talking about evolving, and not just evolving from the whole definition, from the mentality, having the right mindset and all. I can't help but think that everything falls on the head of the leader, right? Now in history, Moses has been recorded as one of the greatest leaders in history. In fact, if you read in most leadership books, we find him there. I heard his leadership style is also being studied in some leadership institutes or schools around the world. Now, so this is the man God called to take the children of Israel out of Egypt and then take them to the promised land. Now, but unfortunately, a journey that was meant to be a couple of days turned to 40 years in the wilderness, and then he eventually did not get to the promised land. And it borders not on the man, but on the people, because I will tell you, my own opinion is the reason why Moses did not enter the promised land was because of the people that he led. Those guys frustrated him so much that he had to get on the bad side of God, and that cost him entering the promised land. And that can be drawn again for businesses in Nigeria, because I've sat with some business owners that tell you, like, I don't know, like, my people are giving me headache, and if I don't pay
Mm.
salaries today, and that's why you see them, like, you see
Mm.
businesses that want to do so many things at the same time, because I want to be able to I want to be able to get as much money as fast as possible so that I can keep paying these guys. So now, what are the roles of business leaders when it comes in this particular situations, in the event that in this place, in this desert at a time, but they have the right mindset now, but he or
Mm.
she owns the business. How can I translate this to the people that don't own the business? Their job there is to just come do their job and get their salary. Because let's be honest,
Mm.
people will not tell you, "Oh, I'm seeing your I'm seeing your vision, I'm seeing your this thing." They're looking at today. What are you able to give me to keep my family, to that I have family to feed, this and that, and then you're telling me,
Mm.
okay,
Mm.
there's no fuel in the country, the dollar to naira is
Mm.
going haywire, and you're telling me that you're not able to pay me this month, or you want to pay me 50% this month, and then, like, what
Mm.
what is our role as business leaders in this? Because for some people, it's not because they don't have the optimism, or they don't have the mentality. It's just the people they are
Yeah,
leading is just, frustrating the journey for them.
that's a good question. And the leader has only one role. When you set up a business, you become a leader of that business. And you have only one rule. Only one, not two, one. Once you do that one, every other thing falls in place. Just one. You don't have to cram too many, just one. That's sacrifice. The leader must be sacrificial. One. If you can get that one, and what that one means is that the leader must understand that for him, the owner of the business, the entrepreneur, the employer, business to him is a service tool, not a survival kit. Business to the leader is a service tool, not a survival kit. It's for service, not for survival. The leader must learn to understand that for him, he's in business to serve. Now, where the leaders, a lot of leaders understand this, but where they go wrong, which is where Moses also kind of went wrong, is they expect every other person under them to adopt that mentality. So the leader expects every staff, every employee affiliated to that business to have a service mentality rather than a survival mentality. But that is not true. I used to think it was so too, that if I'm running a business, I'm here to serve as a designer, as a coach, as a consultant. I'm here to serve my clients. And my staff too are also there to serve. That is a faulty mentality. It's not true. Your staff are there to survive. A lot of them are there to survive. Some of them might grow into the mentality of serving. Some, but a lot of them are there to survive. Just like the children of Israel. Moses was there to serve them by leading them out. But for them, survival was most paramount to them. What they will eat, what they will drink, how they will survive. And Moses let that their need for survival frustrate him, because he was like, why don't you understand that this is God's plan? So he let the fact that they didn't understand that it was God's plan frustrate him. So he did some things out of anger. So when they asked for water, it was like, why don't you guys trust God? I trust God. I know what God is trying to do. Why don't you guys see? Why are you guys all about what you're going to eat? So instead of hitting it once, hit it twice. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because it was frustrated by their need for survival. But you see what? He didn't know that the people are always about survival. The leader is the one about service. The people will always have, look, the people that are working for you, IK, if they are working diligently, it's because, not because they believe in what your business is doing. Some of them, a lot of them don't believe. 99% of them don't believe. They don't even see it. They are working diligently because they want you to reward their diligence, increase their salary, give them bonus, give them promotion. For them, it's all about survival. Once you understand this as a leader, that you are serving, but the people under you want to survive, You must meet their survival needs so that they don't frustrate your service. But then a lot of people want them to be serving with them, and then they become frustrated. They won't serve with you if they're there for survival. That's why they bought their CV. That's why they brought it. Not because they really see what they're doing. Like, oh man, I really love this company. Very few of them. Anybody that tell you they want to work with Google now, is it because Google is doing brilliantly well? No, it's because they're hearing what the salary at Google is. Is that they're hearing the salary at Google, or they want to get some kind of knowledge from Google? They want to get something. The people always want to get something, but the leader always wants to do something. So when the leader sees that people want to get something as opposed to do something, the leader gets the weak leaders, or the leaders that they don't see clearly, get frustrated. That why are they not wanting to do? Why are they just thinking about getting? But the wise leaders realize, give them what they want so that they can help me do what I need to do. That is it. That's how. So a good leader must be sacrificial. If it means you giving up your own to give to them so that they can focus on what you want them to do, give up your own. If it means you going to go and borrow money so that you can meet what they go and borrow money so you can pay them, or just close up that business. But if you think they will leverage on the fact that, man, this is such a good cause our guy is doing, I don't mind, 6 months salary I won't take. No, they won't do that. They'll go to the next person that offers them salary because they need to survive. That's why they are employees. You understand? The employee mentality is so different. It's so different from the entrepreneurial mentality. It is so different. That's why the children of Israel never got it. They never got what Moses was saying about God leading them and them remembering what he had done for them in the past. All they wanted to do was survive now. When they stopped seeing Moses, they built God for themselves to survive now. If all Moses had to do was to take their request directly to God. Don't get frustrated with them because they won't change. Let's go back to God and say, these people, they want water. Give them water. Give them water. They want this. What should I tell them? Give them. Don't get frustrated that they don't see the vision. The children of Israel didn't see the vision of the promised land. They didn't see it. All they saw was, I'll tell you what they saw per stage. When they were in Israel and Moses came to release them, all they saw was, oh, we are leaving this place. So when they got to that's all they saw. They didn't see all that was saying about promised land was far from their mind. All they saw was, they freed us, we are free. When freedom cleared, all they saw was Red Sea. When that one cleared, all they saw was hunger. When that one cleared, all they saw was thirst. When that one cleared, all they saw was they were always seeing something, but they never saw the vision of the promised land. Only Moses and a few people saw it. And that's how a business is. Very few people see what you see. But don't get frustrated. They're not bad people for that reason. They're just followers. That's who they are. It's not their vision. So you equip them to continue to work on the vision that they do not see very clearly. But you help them to see, to do their own part, which is small, that adds to the bigger machine that gets the work done. You understand? So people that work at Rolex, they don't see the vision of we want to create a wristwatch that lasts time, that will be an asset in future. They don't see that. The person that puts the battery there doesn't see that. The person that cleans the face of the wristwatch doesn't see that. All he sees is they're going to pay me $5 per hour to clean this thing. If I can meet up to 100 wristwatch faces that I clean within an hour, I will get an extra $5. That's what they see. And that's what you give them. And then they begin to do that cleaning of the face of the wristwatch, which helps you to achieve a wristwatch that people can keep for a long time that will be an asset. But people want that person on the factory floor to see the vision of a company that they... No. A lot of them will not see it. You are the one that God entrusted with the vision to get it done. When God gives you the vision, He will equip you with resources, not to enrich you, but to be able to pay people to help you arrive at the vision. But a lot of leaders, when they miss it, when God gives them resources, what they do is they put it in their pockets and hope that people we will follow them because they are motivational speakers. No. And that's why there is a documentary. There's a guy called, it's on Netflix. The guy that, a British guy, an American guy, that wanted to invent a car called the DeLorean. It was a popular car made popular by this film, the Back to the Future. He was driven to invent a car. And he went very far till the British government, I think the British government gave him a loan of millions of dollars. And instead of him to put that money into his staff and the factory and paying salaries, he put most of the money inside his pocket and was inspiring his staff to continue to build cars till they all revolted against him. Till they revolted against him, the cops came looking for him for misappropriating money. You see, that guy was this close to inventing a breakthrough car, but his own greed and his lack of a sacrificial spirit as a leader stopped him from doing that. Because when the British government gave him that loan of millions of dollars, what he was meant to do was hire the best of hands and get the best of facilities and pay them. But he paid himself, hoping that they will see his vision and continue to work. But once he was owing them, they stopped working. You understand what I'm saying? That's what happens. So the leader has to be sacrificial, and sacrificial to help his people survive and not get frustrated by their need for survival. When a staff comes to you and tells you, I need transport money, you don't get frustrated and say, every time, transport money, every time. I don't know, no. Is he a good staff? Does he do a good job? Yes. This transport money, how much is it? Give it to him. You give it to him so that he can help you achieve what you want. A lot of people just get frustrated by his survival mentality. But that's his mentality. That's why he's working for you. Because he wants to survive. And that's why you are the entrepreneur. You want to do. So you make sure that he survives so that you can do. That's the secret to leadership in helping people get you to achieve what you want as a leader.
Well, while you were talking, I can't help but just draw inferences from my personal experience because, I'll say Yomi Drop is almost 2 years, and last year, at the height of operations last year, I also sat with you to, discuss our testimony and know how we went from less than 10 deliveries in 2021, September to December, to like over 150 deliveries last year. And one of the things, like looking at 2022, I realized that for a period of about 6 months, I had to rely on loans from friends. I had to rely on just family members, like, hey, what you're trying, just take this and support your business. I've had to put my personal, everything I earned, like from any other venture, into this business. Like, okay, yes, I'm going to use this to just pay salaries. I'm going to use this for marketing. And then at the end of the day, I found out that I don't have anything. Like the whole of 2022, like I'm just saying it here, the only thing I earned from Yomi Drop was the 5,000 that I paid myself in December. I was like, okay, at least let me just use it and just take myself out. Let it be what Yomi Drop paid me and all. But then now we made money and we're able to consistently pay salaries every month. I'm finding out I'm not even paying myself, and sometimes it also gets frustrating. Just like you said, these guys will come to you like, "Oh, Oga, I never chopped with you," and then sometimes I want to murmur like, "What is this? Are you serious?" But I find out even if as I'm murmuring, I'll just, okay, if there's no money, I'll just like, okay, pick up from my personal account and like, okay, hey, take this, and then I'll just do it like, I know. Every day there's always something. If it's not fuel, if it's not this, if it's not transport, if it's not every day, there's always something. I'm like, okay, I said, okay.
Very sacrificial.
It just one day I told myself, okay, see, you're just seeing this, they're not seeing this. They're here to work and take their salary. So don't beat yourself up about it. Just drive it and then keep through, as in ensuring that the salary is there. So that was why, like, for 6 months, I had to like rely on, okay, either borrowing to augment, and then family members or friends telling you, hey, like just use this and support the business and all that. So I kind of like, okay, yes. So when you're saying, I'm like, I'm relating it to myself. And I know it happens to a lot, so many other business owners out there, because at some point, it's easy to get frustrated because you are asking yourself, are these guys not seeing that we're not making so much money? Are they not seeing that like this? But the truth is that they're not seeing it because
They're not saying it.
their contract with you is that I'm here to work, and in
Exactly.
after the 30 days, you're supposed to pay me this XYZ.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah.
it. This is my contract with
Yeah.
you. Like that
Yeah.
is not you. You're the one bothered with what you're seeing. They and
Exactly.
no matter how hard they
Exactly.
work, and just like you said, no
Mm-hmm.
matter how hard they work, they're always looking at, okay, when would the salary be increased? Like I'm working this hard because of this. And in saying what you said, it made me appreciate the circle around me, like, because I'm looking at it for 6 months, I had to rely on, people encouraging me, hey, keep up, like, at least you're witness to when the first government policy, we talked about when something is when something is trying to invite government. And
Yeah.
all of a sudden, like government, like we have to change our bikes. Like what? And you guys are not. So today, and it happened that as of today, these bikes are now times two of what I bought them now. I'm hearing business owner tell you that people have closed shop entirely because
Yes.
I can buy these bikes for like 700, almost 1 million. How can I but we were able to do it back then, August 2021. We had to like, okay, sell off like, and then just got a few, or got fewer than what we had, and like, whoa, I'm like, okay, is this? But then we just had to like leave out of it and all, and it just made me realize, okay, God has blessed me with these people around me, right? So I'm seeing, is that something else that didn't play well for Moses? The fact that people around him, because he mostly got surrounded by even his siblings, Miriam and Aaron also contributed to his problems as well. They also complained about one thing or the other. So what's the role of support system? Like, what's the role of having friends and families that encourage you as a business owner, that are willing to like, hey, I'm seeing what you're doing, like just take this, all right, you can pay me in the next 6 months, right? Or I'm investing this in your business, so like, hey, kudos, like this is how important is this?
Yeah, support systems are optimal, as in you need them to be optimal in your life. Like support systems, you need them on the go every single time. They are imperative for you to have good support system. You might not need too many. That's the funny thing. You don't need too many. You'd be surprised how far one person that supports you will go. Not talk about two. Support systems are so strong. You understand? Just like what the Bible talks about, one will taste 1,000, two will taste 10,000. That's how it is. When you have a support system, they are like angels. You understand? And we know from what the Bible talks about angel, one angel. When you have one angel, it can route 1,000 people. But when you look at it arithmetically or geometrically, two angels should be 2,000 people. But only two angels now 10,000. It's ridiculous. We don't know how that maths. It now means that angel that was defending you and routing 1,000 people means that when the second one comes, it charges more and can now route 5,000 people. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Then when the third one comes, each one now charges more and can now. That's how it is. And you see, when you have one person that's an angel in your life, you're incredibly blessed. One person that can support you, and I will say this: one person that can support you when they see your vision is good, but the greatest people are people that support you when they don't even see your vision.
Yeah,
those people are radical. Do you understand? They just know that they love you and they trust you. They don't see what you see. They don't see it, but they're still there with you. It's easy for people to support you when they see what you're seeing. It's hard. It takes very special people that don't see it. They're like, I don't understand what IK is doing, but it's IK. I love him. I support him. I've got his back. If he comes, I will give him. Those are incredible people. And those are people you need. They are very hard to find because treasures are very hard to find. You understand?
Yeah.
But once you find them, you must hold on to them. Hold on to them. Very important. hold on to them. Like I remember when I started doing design, my parents didn't understand what it was. They didn't understand. They didn't understand what design was. They didn't understand what graphic design as a job would be. They understood it as a hobby. But as a 9 to 5 job, they didn't understand it. And I remember then when I wanted to get training to be a graphic designer, the guy that wanted to train me was asking for 30K. 30K. I didn't have it. I didn't have 5K. You understand? I didn't have 5K. I didn't have a job. This was just what I wanted to learn. And I remember going to my mom. My mom didn't understand it. But then she was willing to help me with the money to pay for this thing. So she paid for it, 30K. But she didn't understand where her 30K was going. You understand? The same way when I finished my training, I wanted to get a laptop. And I got some money together, but it wasn't enough to get a laptop. So I went to my mom too. I said, I want to get this laptop. Oh, I don't have this money. Can she lend me? And she gave me the money. She said she was lending me, but she never paid me. I never paid her back. Never. You understand? And she never asked for it. But you see, even before I ever produced a flyer or a brochure, a logo, she invested in a laptop. So those are the kind of people you need on your side at all times. People that support you when you don't see your vision. And so the support system is very important. And apart from the support system, what you keep your eyes seeing is also very important. What you listen to is also very important. So you might not have physical support, but you have materials that you can watch and listen to and plug in that supports you, that fortifies your mind. Very important, because a lot of people do not fortify their mind. That's why they give up so easily, because the mind is just left open and bare. That's why they give up so easily. That's why they fail so easily, because the mind is just open and bare. So they open their minds to, as I say, WhatsApp status, Instagram stories, Twitter feeds of just any random person ranting off things they don't really know about and just spreading stories of woe and doom. It's so incredible how people just talk. Right now, we're having this Naira problem in Nigeria.
Yeah.
But it's incredible that there are some people that when there was abundance of Naira, they didn't have anything in their account. And they still don't have anything in their account, but they're still talking about, I can't get Naira. But you don't even have the Naira. You don't have Naira.
Yeah.
Naira is so scarce. If Naira was abundant, you still didn't have it.
Still won't get it.
Why? You still won't get it. You don't have any Naira to your name. So why are you frustrated with us? You don't have a Naira to your name. So you have some people who talk about how bad Nigeria is a place to do business, but they don't have a business. They've never done a business before. You have people that talk about how terrible women are in marriage, or how terrible men are in marriage. They've never held a relationship before. Do you understand? So when you tune into those frequencies, those people don't know what they're saying. But then they are mongering fear and insecurities about particular aspects of life. And you are taking it in as an entrepreneur, as a man, as a woman. And you're taking it in, and it's allowing you to go into things fearful and give half-current strength to whatever it is you're doing. And you just realize that they're baseless. And that's why you must fortify your mind. Don't listen to just anything. Don't watch just anything. You understand?
Yeah.
Watch things that give you hope. Those things that become your support system. If you don't have your physical support, have your digital support. You understand? So if your parents are telling you you can't amount to anything, get a podcast that tell you are more than anything, and put your headphones in half the time. You must protect yourself at all costs, especially if you are following a dream, and it's a dream of a business to achieve something. You must protect yourself.
Okay. So your story about talking about your parents is just it just reminds me of mine. And till today, my dad sometimes will call me and like, are you sure you don't want to go and get a job? Like, the way the country is going right now, like, just get it. At least you'll be sure of this monthly salary and all that. And then he kind of like well, I say he rationalizes it by saying, okay, I'm using the salary to be supporting your business. They make it seem so they make it seem that way and all that. And just like you
Yeah.
said, I remember the first laptop I started using as a graphic designer was actually bought and paid for by my dad. And the first training I went for,
Mm.
I remember they didn't even understand what I mean by I want to go and learn graphic design. Like, so I had to go and convince my mom to convince the husband to release. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, until like this happened, just the training, the laptop, and everything. But till today, like they're still looking at okay, maybe, but you should just go and get something. So I get when you say like they mustn't see the vision. Like they're not to see the vision. They have
Yeah.
to just trust you to just like trust you enough to okay, let's do this for you. And throughout, like I can some of the blessings I've gotten, some of the channels God has blessed me with last year has just been people that they know nothing about Yomi job, like which one is like, and some of them will tell you, okay, are you sure you don't want to leave this country? But still, yet they've constantly been used as channels to like, okay, keep this afloat and God, seeing this through and all. So I really understand. I really understand. So now to wrap it up, I have this last question, and this is okay. Let me just put it this way: at the end of the day, when do you as a business, or when do you as a business owner decide, okay, nah, this is no longer working for me? Like I'll just have to either close shop or just leave the environment. Like I said, a lot of people left Nigeria last year doing the Java exodus and all that, like the Java season and everybody. So when do you decide, okay, maybe this is not for me? Maybe like I've tried, I've put in, maybe it's time to close shop, or maybe it's time to leave this current geography and then head to another place.
Hmm. Yeah, that's a good question. I know this question of how to end, if to end, is hugely connected to how to start, if to start. So, for me to answer this question, if someone says, how do I know this business is not, how do I know when I've done my best, when I should drop this business, you understand, when I should leave? Number one, what I will ask persons, why did you start? You understand? That's the only thing that can justify or clarify stopping or giving up or throwing the towel or relocating. It comes down to, you see, there are three important questions when you're starting a business. Number one question is, what do you have to offer? What do you have in your hands? What do I have in my hands? What do I have to offer? Number two question is, who am I sent to offer it to? Who am I sent to offer it to? Who is this thing for? Who is my audience? Number three question is, who is sending me? So those three questions must be answered. What do I have in my hands? Who am I sent to? And who is sending me? Now, to answer your question, how do I know when this thing is not working? I should just leave it, close up shop, chapa, and go and look for something else to do in my life. You know that when you go back to those three questions, what's in your hands? Now, are you stopping because that thing is no longer in your hands? Do you understand? So because you started because it was in your hands in the first place.
Yeah.
So if it's no longer in your hands, that could be a reason for stopping. So it's no longer in my hands. No longer. I know I can't do this thing anymore. I used to be a good graphic designer. I'm not good at it anymore. I used to be a good photographer. I'm not good at these things anymore. I don't have it in my hands anymore. That's one question. So you must look at your hands. Is it still there? If it's still there, then you don't have any business stopping yet. You still have two other questions to answer. But you know that first question has come against you stopping because you still have it in your hands. So why do you want to stop? Number two, who are you sent to? So is it that the people you are sent to have gone? They are not around anymore. Or you've met all their needs. They don't need you anymore. Then you can stop and jackpot. See, so if you say, who am I sent to? I'm sent to these people. I'm sent to uneducated children. I have uneducated children finish in Nigeria.
Yeah.
If they finish in Nigeria, you finish your job. You can go. You can go. You are free to go. It's not working anymore. You don't have a business anymore. Because the people you are sent to are not there anymore. They finish in Nigeria, then maybe you can think of jackpotting to another country. Maybe they are still there. But they are still here. Why are you leaving? The third and most important question, who is sending you? Because you're not sending yourself. And has that person told you to stop? So if that person has not told you to stop, why are you stopping? You're being disobedient and disloyal. Do you understand? So then you must think. Because when you start, you can say, I believe God is sending me to be a podcaster. I believe God is sending me to be a fashion designer. I believe God is sending me to be a doctor. So when you want to come back and say, I am not doing again, it's either you are going against God or you are obeying God. So it's either God has told you, enough of the medicine now, leave this thing. But if God has not told you, then why are you stopping? So you see, if you don't answer this, now I say this question is very connected to how you start, how you end, very connected to how you start. A lot of people start asking these three questions. The only question they ask themselves when they go into business is, how much do I want to make? So it's very easy to stop when you're not making that again. You just stop. It doesn't pay me anymore now. I'm stopping. That's it. That's so easy to stop. But when you ask yourself those three foundational questions, what do I have? Who am I sent to? Who is sending me? You just don't stop anyhow just because you don't feel like it. Because feeling like it was never an initial question to start. It was never a, do I feel like it? That's never a question you start with.
Yeah.
What do I have? Who am I sent to? And who is sending me? If you can answer those questions and all those things align with you living, then live. You would live with a clear conscience. But if you answer those questions and they don't align with any of those things, then you are living for selfish reasons. And you will answer for it at the end of your life. You understand? So that's how you can know whether to leave or jackpot. You are jackpot because everybody's going, then you leave what God has told you to do for people with what's in your hand. You will answer for it at the end of your life. You left what God gave you, endowed you with something to do, to help some people, and He gave you the command to do it. You left because you wanted something better for yourself. You answer for it. You understand? So when we see it that way, we realize that it's a heavy responsibility. You just don't leave because Buhari is not doing well. Buhari is not the one that called you. He's not the one that asked you what's in your hand. He's not the one that's sending you to people. So it's not a good enough excuse to leave. It wouldn't be tenable when you face your Creator. It wouldn't be tenable. So that's it. If you want to know when to leave, those three questions, let them guide you. Look, for me, Nigeria is just as hard as it is to anybody that is as it is to me. But before I pack my bags, I must answer those three questions. Those three questions keep me grounded. Do you understand? They're not about me. They're about people and they're about God. And that is what makes me, the story of me, while I'm here and after I'm gone. And that's what people don't pay attention to. The story of them is what they want. And that story doesn't take you anywhere. It just leads you to a place of more dissatisfaction and unhappiness. Business is a responsibility. It's not about you. That thing we call business is that been abused over time. It's a gift from God to make life better. It's a gift. We don't understand it. We think it's something we manipulate people to do something so that we can get something from them. We don't understand that business is a gift. It's a gift for us to help and to obey the calling of God upon our lives. That's what it is. And the more you do it, at the end of your life, you will be happy. You will be welcomed. You will be rewarded. Because this life is so short. There's more life after now. If you want to understand that. But a lot of people are mortgaging the more life after now for the short life that we are seeing right now. And it's unfortunate. But that would be my answer to anybody that comes to me with that question.
Wow. Oh, thank you very much. Like I don't know who could have said it better than you. And it's just like you said. I think we've lost as business owners or as businesses or people lead pioneering businesses, we've lost the understanding that one, business is spiritual, and then two, we are not the source and the sustainer of business. I love the way you put the three questions. What is in your hand? Who are you sent to? And who sent you? We've we've misconstrued it as we sending ourselves and then thinking that it's all about one
Exactly.
strategy or one
Mm,
tactics to use on the whether it's social media and then and get people or if how eloquent or how you have the best product or the best service. We've forgotten at the foundation of it all, it's spiritual, and then there's someone that is behind that sent you forth with this service, with this gift, with this product to
exactly.
serve a particular geography, a particular audience, and all. So you've heard that you have to answer those questions before you leave Nigeria. And I want to thank you, sir. I've had a lot of this podcast, this episode was actually inspired by my conversation with businesses because a lot of people are downcast, and I thought, okay, this is the best way to just answer everybody at the same time and also bring you on board to help me answer these questions so that they know that there's a place of spirituality when it comes to business. So
Oh, big
I
place.
don't yeah, so I don't know if I could say it. So I want to close with this tweet I saw today from Andrew Gazdecki, and he said something that every startup need an outrageously optimistic person to succeed. And this is the rule for the founder because if you don't believe, others won't. If you don't believe,
Mm.
others won't. So if you don't believe that Nigeria can work for you, forget it. Your staff don't talk, your team, no, nobody from your team will believe. So thank you so much again, sir. I really appreciate you being on this channel today, and I look forward to having these conversations, as time goes on in the course of the year. And thank you so much for coming today. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. It's always a pleasure talking with you.
All right. So, guys, till the next time, it's still Brand Talk, and I'm still your favorite host, IQGB.